Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Episode 140 there. My goodness.
Ooh,
I think
wow.
we might have made it in the half point of 150 if we didn't take that extended hiatus, I guess you would say. I don't know, people thought we were rumors out there. Many things have been spreading out, such follies spreading out. No, not really, but many things.
I was off to go see my illegitimate son, and there is no excuse that I can really think of for that moment. But hey, you know what? It just is what it is.
It is what it is. We're gonna just, I think it's better off to acknowledge it and just move on from this, and hopefully it doesn't affect the quality of this particular podcast you're listening to, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
And
it will not.
Yes, I mean, joining me as always, my good co-host extraordinaire, C.H. Korog.
Hello.
And I, your host, Splitter47, here for the July 30th. Just to keep you on track on the time we were recording this. July 30th. So,
oh, wow.
Almost August.
It has been a while, huh? It's been a while since we talked about video games. Yeah.
Certainly has. The last episode we did was mainly the Blood Money discussion focused podcast there, which was a lot of really really fun to do there. I quite enjoyed divulging into the very essence of Blood Money there. One of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, it's certainly an infectious one too, because damn it, I love Blood Money. And just if you ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't gone out of your way to find Blood Money and to come together and try to find a copy of like either the HD edition or one of the original copies, then you failed me. Please go out and do that right now. I really can't express enough how awesome it is.
It is one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. The cheapest you can get it is on PC, as obvious as that sounds, and definitely, if you're not up for the PC version, definitely the HD trilogy is where it's at. Even though the games that are included in that, they're good games for the time, but they're a little dated. But Blood Money is what you want to play first, just to get you to dip your feet into the waters of the Hitman series, and maybe if you really enjoy the hell out of that, maybe just give those previous two games a shot there. Just don't expect much, don't expect too much polish in that one, and just it's kind of overall dated there.
Yeah, it certainly is one of those, like, okay, last gen you can kind of tell what's going on, but I have to say it's still, the presentation is still very, very, very good, despite the fact that it's a little bit limited with technology they have nowadays. Like the lip syncing doesn't exactly match up, but it's still very, very good. And but most importantly of all, the presentation still stands up, and it is fairly awesome.
Yeah, that definitely is what stands out most about it, and just the overall exploration of levels is definitely one of the big attractions to that game. And just I'm always a fan of being able to go about different levels and missions in games a whole variety of ways. It just encourages you to go ahead and replay those levels and not feel too jaded to you once you play you love the game so much you play it a couple times. It starts to get a little you start to get really good at the gameplay and just kind of not too into it as you once were before. But with a game like that, there's definitely a lot of experimentation you can do, and just overall creativeness on your part that you can partake if you so wish to do so, to just go all out blazing, and just different takes. Very Deus Ex.
Yes, and there is something very I think that's probably one of the most difficult types of games to really expect, because like with Halo or Tetris or even Half-Life 2, where you have these options to progress throughout the game. It's basically like, okay, here's the system of play that we put in front of the user, and then they get used to it. But with like Deus Ex Human Revolution and Hitman Blood Money and a little bit of Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, although it's a little bit more versatile, where anyone can do almost anything in those games. Like they can either go very stealthy or guns blazing or sneak around or what have you, and it takes really smart programmers to think of like, okay, what if they want to do this way? Okay, well then we'll think about that. Well, if we do that, then there's going to be a less chance of stealth being fun. Okay, well we got to measure that out. And just the amount of ingenuity it takes to create these level designs and game designs in general is just outstanding. And so it's a mark of even if a game is good, even if it's just like a good entry that does a lot of things right, where like Hitman or Deus Ex, where even if the gameplay isn't incredible, the fact that they can still incorporate all those different levels fairly well, you should be commended.
Oh, most definitely there. I mean, just them taking the time to just go about thinking ahead of what the player might do, just all this experimentation, just overall freedom of choice is what gets me coming back for more than one replay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you definitely get a lot out of it, but definitely for that particular genre, that's the type of ingenuity and intuitiveness that you can take with the in the kind of stealth action genre, depending on depending on how you go about and play it.
I'm very interested in seeing how Splinter Cell Blacklist is going to handle that, because with Chaos Theory and kind of Double Agent, where actually that's interesting. Is that Chaos Theory? It was at great balance, but it was perfect for that sort of technical limitations, presentation limitations, what they wanted to accomplish. You still were slow moving, but you could have a little bit more flexibility with like your weaponry and how you wanted to proceed. And then Double Agent, wanted to be more dynamic, so they had basically that same gameplay design, but changed around how you interacted with it. Like you had to sneak on site for your main sort of area, where you had to hack into security cameras and do all this kind of stuff, but you couldn't knock out people like you could, and you were limited in that sense. And even I know before there were Splinter Cell games where okay, you can't kill anyone, but even now it felt much more limited. And then that didn't really feel that good. But with Conviction, that was a whole new set of of gameplay styles, in terms of okay, you got it's fast, it's you got a thing on the fly, but it was consistent with that. And then with Blacklist, they're trying to do traditional sort of Splinter Cell's Ghost Op, the Assault, and then Panther, which are the three different styles, and mix of action and action stealth and just pure stealth. It's interesting to to see what how that will turn out, and whether or not they're gonna if they do, it's probably gonna be the best case of oh wow, they got all the bases covered in the best way, or it could just be wow, none of these even seem to do that well.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I mean, I'm definitely still looking forward to that, and that's coming out relatively pretty soon. And yeah, there's definitely been some slight evolution, slightly away from stealth with the Splinter Cell series. There, it's as each game comes out, there's less really ways to go about different missions. You could definitely go, I mean, just thinking about it now with Conviction, it's more just I don't know if you pretty much wipe out every guy in the room in order to proceed, right? You can't go ahead and just bypass them. At some levels, I'm sure that. No, I mean, I think every level you have to either knock out somebody or kill them in order to proceed.
Yeah, it is kind of there doesn't seem to be too many moments of okay, you can get around these people. If you go like a stealthy route. Like even like there was the level in Washington D.C. where there's like a giant blackout, and there was that one scene where one of the PMC soldiers like shouting over to a crowd of people like, "Okay, everybody, please remain calm. Like, don't worry, nothing bad's gonna happen." And then like they see it's like, "Oh my God, Fisher opened fire." Where it's like, okay, you can't even give me like a chance to like maybe if I kept my profile low and I took off my goggles and put them in my backpack, they wouldn't recognize me. Like, how does everybody immediately know who Sam Fisher looks like?
Yeah, that was just basically the whole game design, messing with the continuity of just what these NPCs are saying before you go ahead and just like if you knock out one guy or just throw them against the wall, they start freaking out. It's pretty hilarious. Like I think every time they all expect you and they start just kind of flipping out. Even if you shoot out the lights, like in past Splinter Cell games, you can go ahead and shoot the lights. If the enemy is nearby, and you just go with his usual dialogue here. It's like the lights are out. Let me go check that out. And then Conviction, they're all afraid of the lights going out. Just like one shot of it, and people start freaking out and looking for you.
Yeah, people literally think it's like a boogeyman who took out the lights. It's not like, oh, it might have short out, it might have just there might have been a power surge and the bulb busted. No, it's like, oh my God, we're under attack. Get the nuclear weapons prepared. It's not just like, it's like not the escalation. It's like the immediate like, okay, we're now at DEFCON 5 or DEFCON 1, whichever one's worse.
Any DEFCON to me is worse.
Or it's like it's so bad they go from DEF CON to Def Jam. It's like it's that bad.
Reminiscing on when we played DEF CON together, that sort of pseudo war games esque game was like anytime you would go from a different DEF CON, like DEF CON 2. I mean, I freak out every time this whole countdown is going down while we're just trying to plan ahead and maneuver our fleets of just battleships, airships, and all that. You hear that? You hear the siren go off. It's a very distinguishable one that in a lot of games use, like when alarms start to go off in Chaos Theory.
Mm-hmm. And thinking back to DEF CON, I thought it was just hilarious how we were playing at like a snail's crawl speed. Like it was actually how the real world would respond to like war, where it would take like a month to assemble the armies and like another year to get them all mobilized. Whereas in the game, there was the option of like you could either like do that or like do it in like kind of the fun arcade version where it like speeds up everything. It's like, oh yeah, this would be much better than waiting until my next birthday to finally move.
It could be one of the most tedious games and also just the most fast-paced games if you make it so, just by the settings alone.
Oh my, yeah, it was just so much fun. It was really tense because of the fact that like it was kind of like what was the game, Battleship. That was the what's the thing that Rihanna's most famously associated with? Oh yes, Battleship. That's what I was thinking of. And you can't see where your enemies are at. You can't find. You gotta send out your your reconnaissance drones, and it's like it's just really tense. Really cool. And it's fun. I should try to play that again. But just it's definitely one of those games that rely on like, wow, it is like you got to prepare and you got to make sure that everything is perfect before you heading on out, or else you're gonna get a nuke on your submarine.
It certainly staples into your mind that I can't be a war general. I can't handle it. It's too much pressure and it's too tedious.
Yeah, I couldn't be a sandwich artist at Subway. You want me to command this fleet of subs with like thousands of men on them? It's like, I don't know if I should be doing this. Maybe if I was. Like, you know what I can do? I can hold your binoculars while you, like, survey the surrounding area. I'll be like, here you go, sir. Would you like some coffee? Yes. Okay, that's fine. All right, good. Good talking to you.
That's right. Simple tasks, man. Not this complex, planning your attacks and waiting there and seeing what happens. No. No.
I don't want no war games.
I'm comfortable.
I thought this was the Army Reserve, man. I thought we were like working on one weekend a year.
It's crazy. But we'll see what happens with Blacklist. I feel like I know it's still probably, I guess, early, but I feel like they've not been promoting this well enough to me. Blacklist. I know that they had a couple small showings at E3, and they're putting out little video clips here and there. I've not really been watching them. I do know that I think they posted something either this week, some Spies versus Mercs gameplay there.
Ooh, fun!
Definitely one of the fun multiplayer highlights I've had with when they included that in Double Agent, I believe, and that's a whole lot of fun. It's it's basically you either like play a spy or a merc, and each one you'll have to go about getting the other team by killing them in a different way. I guess the spies are just more stealthy like, so you're gonna have to go ahead and and I remember in Double Agent you're sneaking through ducts and stuff. It's a lot like kind of like a little bit of like Alien versus Predator type, where you're one is the kind of the more assault based and kind of guns blazing type of character, and the other one's kind of very stealthy. You're gonna go, have to approach that enemy from behind in order to get anything done. I was neither good at either of them, so I always get either backstabbed or shot as a spy. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, definitely if you're definitely a stealth enthusiast or an action enthusiast, there's the best of both worlds. You can go about and play each two of those two different traits there in that multiplayer mode of Splinter Cell.
Yeah, speaking of gameplay types, it's hard to balance, especially with Spies vs. Mercs, where one's playing first person, one's playing third. How do you justify that divide of how much power do you give one character, how much power do you give the other one? Is the perspective of a third person actually far more powerful than just the mercenaries alone? And that must be incredibly hard to figure out how to get those gameplay styles together, just so that you can actually have a game running together that's fun and not completely overwhelming in one direction. I think they did a fairly good job of it in Double Agent and Chaos Theory, where it was the right amount of like, okay, it was you could as a merc you need to be slower and kind of more aware of your surroundings. You got to set up traps and you got to watch the shadows, and with spies you got to be quick and you got to keep your eyes up for any gadgets that really aren't yours, and then try to what is it, like, get the information.
It's something like that. It's been so long since I played it. I mean, just talking about it is bringing up some kind of nostalgic memories of it. I mean, I
used to shoot flares like a grenade launcher.
Yeah,
that those were fun. Like I would randomly like shoot as many as I can, just because like I knew I'd be killed in the first 30 seconds of the match. I'd be like, here guys, I'm just gonna put up some flares. There we are. Don't worry. All you can do is just remember to avenge me when I get my neck snapped.
That'll distract them hopefully, and I think I always tried out. I think I always try to throw in like the grenades in the ducks, and then I always like miss, and it just bounced back right in my face.
Always those sneaky ducks.
Those sneaky spies, but
yeah, it's I'm looking forward to Blacklist. I'm a little hesitant because. Obviously because they switched out Michael Ironside, even though he basically was the character of Sam Fisher, and that's kind of how I feel about Metal Gear Solid 5, but also like Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm willing to give this new actor a chance and see what he has to do, and I do have a good feeling about this. I think they did take a lot of time to sit down and say, like, okay, people really do want the stealth stuff as well as the stealth action stuff, Conviction, so we'll try to go for broke.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with Splinter Cell Blacklist, I mean, they had some, just, reading from what I've read and just, video clips, it's got some, very solid ideas, and it looks, much more polished in the previous installment there, and it seems like it's got potential. I'm willing to give it a shot because I love the series, and I mean I did not mind the direction they took with Conviction gameplay wise, but hopefully it gets a bit more rounded out a little bit. Maybe they go back to slightly basics here and kind of give us the best of both worlds, some stealth and action there. I mean a lot of games have been doing that quite more often there with Dishonored definitely. One of the examples there. Even though the action part of it has its consequences, and also it's a bit it gets a bit to get used to there.
Yeah, I mean, Dishonored is one of those kind of. It's not incredibly challenging, but it is kind of that weird sort of. Like how do I figure out how to maneuver and everything like that, and being first person maneuvering is fairly difficult. Although there are, and I don't even mean just like on a battlefield. I mean like verticality as well. Like you have games like Mirror's Edge that I completed actually about a week back, and it was. It was definitely a solid game, and what amazed me was just how they were able to design a game completely around kind of that free-flowing movement. And with Dishonored, it's not that intuitive with the free-flowing, but you need to work at it a little bit more, and then you start to get the hang of it, and you start to really feel it. Unfortunately, there's a pretty steady difficulty curve, where it only amps up once you start really feeling comfortable with all the game settings.
There is. I definitely agree with that sentiment there, and it's certainly it being first person is certainly one of the main reasons it takes a little bit longer to get used to, just because it's first person. You don't feel as comfortable in playing a stealth game in first person, because you can never get your surroundings straight. You always feel like there's someone behind you. You never know. It's more. You get a whole nice view of what's going on around you if it's in third person.
Yeah.
It's just something I guess I'm used to, or we're mostly used to it. It's just a matter of preference and what you're comfortable with.
Yeah. I mean, because like first person stealth is not exactly the first thing that comes to mind when you think about like what would be really, really engaging for the players. You kind of think, okay, third person stealth, where you kind of have a like Conviction, where it's like, okay, sneaking around, you see where your enemies are at, you got to go over here. But with Dishonored, it's once again it's that really big action stealth sort of paradigm where you could go either way or do a mix of both, and you need to kind of be able to cater to both audiences, and they do that really well with the relic powers and the bone charms that you can get, and just the fact that they are able to take the idea of verticality and agility and movement and use that very well is incredibly impressive. That it hasn't been done before as well, I think, with such complexity.
Yeah, I'm so bad at the stealth thing, and I never try to get like a rune or a bone charm just so I can get some additional features on those powers. I'm always crouching down and using the cat eye, so you can see in the dark and then see through walls. You can see like your enemy's vision cones and what they're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that is really, really helpful. Like, and I like the fact that it doesn't take up a lot of not mana, but magic or whatever they call it, and it recharges quickly. And also, I like the fact that one of your weapons is a heart that not even a weapon. One of the items is a heart that detects other things like ancient relics and whatnot. And then if you click the left trigger, it like says fun facts about that will probably disturb you. And then have you ever played the game before of Dishonored?
Yeah, it's a game I'm kind of recently playing at the moment. I bought the DLC, which I have yet to play because it was on sale. So I figured, what the hell? I just will go ahead and buy the Dunwall DLC for that. I've only played about like 2 or 3 hours of it. I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. I just I haven't played enough of it to get really comfortable. Like we were bringing up a little bit up with getting comfortable with just the controls and just the stealth aspect of it. Just it being in first person was took me a while to get used to. So I did not start off it didn't begin with a good start. The very beginning of the game where with the queen gets killed, and then like the first two guys you're supposed to shoot, I missed completely. I didn't know which button to push to shoot them, and I missed completely. I just had to do that whole restart for the whole scene there. It's like, so yeah, did not start off very well.
It's one of those. I don't think there's anyone who's immediately comfortable with Dishonored controls. It's usually like, okay, now I just gotta be able to kind of cajole my way into it, and just like figuring out like, okay, this does this, I gotta have timing for this. And it is one of those sort of, you don't learn from what the game teaches you kind of learn through experimentation. And it does it very well. The verticality and kind of the landscapes are perfect for that bit of agility. And I really love the lore of the universe and how it feels, very close to kind of that 17th century whaler sort of English, steampunk feel, where it's like, okay, it's all about this, world that's very similar to ours, but there's something off where, it's not fantastical. It's not like Final Fantasy where it's obviously not our world, but this one feels like it's just our world, just slightly removed.
Yeah, I do like that aspect of it, and it's just gonna need it. It's gonna take me a little bit to, fully experiment and get a bit more of an understanding of just like how it plays a bit more. I mean, not knocking on the game or anything. It's good from what I play. It's definitely a good. If you're really gonna go into really stealth game, it's more stealth based. I mean, you're limited in the amount of like weapons ammo that you do. You can end up using for kind of a bit more of an action playthrough. They're kind of only there to facilitate only when you really need to do it. So that's nice. It's mainly stealth focus. It made me realize that I'm not very good at stealth as I once was, because they're not a lot of very stealth based games like this anymore. So that's why it's taken me a little bit to get used to that again.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? Do you consider Hotline Miami a stealth game?
It is. It does have stealth elements. They do. I mean, it does require stealth for some portions of the game. Not maybe even more, because you have to. Because it's not very smart. It's not very smart if you just kind of like, walk into the plain sight of just everyone, because everyone would just go or start swarming to one room, and it's a possibility that if you're using a weapon, you only get a certain amount of ammo, and if there's a certain amount of people going on there, you might run out of ammo and just get either shanked or shot in the process of switching your weapon real quick or throwing it at them. So it's it's a mix of a lot of things. Like there's some stealth elements, definitely some strategy involved. There's definitely some timing there, and just overall really it's fast paced as well. It's a mixed bag of a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Where it seems more like an action game, but the elements of stealth that I see in there are just like, you need to anticipate enemy movement. You got to study their AI and just like figure out, because like you will die fairly easily. You will not you can't take one. You can take one bullet. Maybe, but even then, it's like, okay, it's kind of questionable. But I like the idea of more game genres coming together and converging into different sort of creations.
Yeah, it gives you an opportunity just to kind of use those different elements in order to accomplish tasks. A lot of elements that you may have experienced in one game and in another, get put into one. That's a nice kind of mix. That's a nice little hybrid you get there.
Exactly. So, and speaking of hybrids and things coming together that I absolutely love, do you know why I'm smiling today?
Today's July 30th, so it's Tuesday. I don't know, to be honest.
I'll give you a hint.
Yes.
It is a game which takes place Above the Sky.
Ooh.
There's DLC for it coming out, and it involves Ken Levine.
I want to give a different answer that is I should be giving the obvious one, but I can't come up with anything clever. But yes, BioShock Infinite, some DLC.
SWAT 4. Thank you very much for playing. We are not doing that today, but thank you very much. So SWAT 4, you get to play as a new SWAT member named Javier Garcia as you take down Hitler in a space. Nah, I'm joking. I can't do this. It's BioShock Infinite, and
hey, SWAT 4 is a good game. That's a good game.
SWAT 4 is a great game, and Irrational. They did what was it? The superhero MMO game. It was like came out a couple of years ago. Like one of the big one is like one of the featured characters is like a American era, like American Revolution era sort of looking superhero. I can't remember what it was called. Not Command and Conquer, but one of those sort of.
I'm looking.
Titles. Anyway, it's for those of you who are big fans of Irrational, you more likely than not have heard about BioShock Infinite, which is a damn good game,
Freedom Force,
in my opinion. And I gotta, and DLC has not exactly been coming out for the game for a while. People were wondering what the heck's going on, and then it was yesterday that they actually revealed that they not only have new DLC being released in the future with the trailer, but they also had DLC being released today, which was it was BioShock Infinite Flight Above the Clouds, I think. Hold on, just checking it out quickly.
I did see something of that to that extent of the title, but I wasn't quite sure exactly what that DLC entailed. And the game you were mentioning, the real-time tactical role-playing game, Freedom Force.
Yes, that's the one. I remember there was ads all over the place in like Game Informer and what have you, and it was called Clash in the Clouds, which is the new DLC for BioShock Infinite being released today. It was kind of like that piece of where you get to fight in an arena against swarms of enemies, and it's kind of like the from what I gathered. I haven't downloaded it, but it's from what I gathered, it's kind of like the BioShock 2 DLC where you can just play against like swarms of enemies as you're Sigma protecting a little girl. I'm sorry, Delta. As you're protecting your little sister. And but the one that's really getting me surprised and delighted is BioShock Infinite Burial at Sea, which is taking place during. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say I did see the trailer, and that's looks like it's taking place in Rapture. There, I don't know if I can say too much of that. Maybe spoiling. I'm sure people already know this, but I would assume it's something that's going on in another dimension.
Yeah, it's like an alternate universe retelling. But to be fair, if you want to get into sort of like the BioShock Infinite connection, you're going to need like a PhD in astrophysics and metaphysics to kind of fully understand that, and I don't fully understand it. And
Wikipedia.
But anyway, like for better or for worse, it's just an alternate universe retelling of, and it definitely seems to be going that way, where it seems to be very noir. Sorry, I'm doing a terrible job for narration. Let me start over. Burial at Sea is all about Booker DeWitt. He's a private investigator in Rapture in December 1958, from what I can tell in the trailers. And he, for those of you who know about BioShock and about Rapture, you know that 1959 New Year's is when it all sort of hits the fan. And so this seems like a very kind of pivotal time where the city is still alive and thriving, but there's still that undercurrent of resistance, kind of like in what BioShock Infinite was dealing with. And so you play as Booker. There isn't a lot to really go on. You can interact. You see little sisters in there, so they're probably going to be making an appearance in the game. And then there's also a redone model of Elizabeth, as she's a new character who says she's Elizabeth. So it looks like it's going to be a retelling of kind of what Elizabeth is. Where in Infinite, she's kind of this young, naive girl who is just who just wants to escape and get away, and she's surprised at her surroundings and how violent things are. this one, it definitely feels like that kind of femme fatale in a classic noir film, where she's very, something along the lines of maybe like Chinatown, where she knows the score, she knows what's going on. Pardon me. She knows what's going on, and she's taking advantage any way she can, and she might not be that might not be that morally upstanding, but it definitely seems like they're going in a different direction with this interpretation of Elizabeth, and hopefully for this interpretation of Booker.
Yeah, look, it looks fantastic. They hit on every beat that people love to see. Seeing Rapture, before it all hit the fan, and just the whole vibe of it, and just like the art for the DLC. It's got me really interested in playing it, because it's very noirish, and I'm a huge fan of the film noir.
Mm-hmm. Of the Scorseses, and they got the Coppolas up in there, and just. But this seems to be very evocative of maybe something like I don't know, the Philadelphia Story. No, not the Philadelphia Story. Damn it! What is that movie with the MacGuffin?
The MacGuffin.
I'm trying to remember. Humphrey. It has Humphrey Bogart in there. What am I doing wrong?
My goodness.
But anyway, I can't remember. Maltese Falcon, and maybe something like. A little bit like Vertigo, or kind of the best sort of crime stories with Hitchcock, but this definitely seems like one of those sort of classic, capers. I don't know, they have a very high standard for storytelling, but I don't know if they're just going to do this one for fun or actually try to make it a fairly heavy story. I mean, because it surprised the hell out of me when Minerva's Den turned out to be, really deep game. And maybe they'll do the same with this one, or maybe they won't. Who knows?
Yeah, well, it could just be maybe a one-off there, just or it could add on to more of the BioShock lore. I mean, the lore itself definitely lends itself to DLC that is slightly in tone differently, and also can maybe play differently, depending on how they set it up. The way the story is, and the lore is all set up, it's perfect for putting out DLC is different from the actual core game of what it's based off. It's sort of like the Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, just like it's completely everything about it. It's completely different from Far Cry 3, which I gotta say, I don't think I talked about Far Cry 3, but I did weeks ago. I finished it, and
oh, nice.
And I mean the gameplay is really good. I love it. The perfect analogy is Skyrim with guns. It's the best way I can put it. And
that is high praise right there.
And I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, the only downside to it is not a huge fan of the story. It kind of makes little to no sense, and a lot of like the characters aren't very well polished. So you kind of end up not caring too much about the story. I was just always kind of effing off and just doing side quests there. But yeah, I mean, the overall gameplay of it was really good, and Voss, like they've been hyping him up with all these like commercials and stuff, and E3, that clip with him at E3 was really good. It just I hate to say it, but yeah, it disappointed with him. He barely was in the game.
Yeah, I've heard that, where it's like, he's probably, from a lot of people, it seems like he's the most enjoyable part of the game, or like one of the most enjoyable characters, and he's barely in it, or very minusculely in comparison to a lot of other characters who don't exactly deserve that amount of screen time.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a character and a performance that is that for what he was given, it was is the one that really stood out the most, and it's what they really it's what the whole game was kind of relying on in order to get people a bit more interested in it. It was just that element in and of itself. But yeah, it's unfortunate that he wasn't in it as much, and just like even your encounter with him, like kind of sort of pseudo boss fight, was very lackluster as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's too bad.
But I mean, the overall, I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. That's the important part of it. Even though the story was lacking in some spots and it just didn't make much sense, but I went along with it anyway. But the overall enjoyment you get by playing it, and just doing random things, and hunting animals, and all of a sudden a tiger mauls your face off. That stuff was awesome.
And from what I've heard, and as you've put it, it's Skyrim with Skyrim with guns and a little bit better hunting skills, and it is too bad that, like, even though Blood Dragon is kind of one of those like really fun experimental sorts of games, they didn't really take the time to make the characters or really story that enthralling, which is it is too bad. Like, I wished more games would take kind of a page out of the Saints Row series, for at least me anyway, where they actually try to write characters you care about. You can't just have jokes in there. You got to actually make your audience care about, like, why the people who are telling the jokes, and for going out through a story. Like, even something like Horrible Bosses, where like the jokes are funny, but you also felt for the guys in the movie. Whereas, like, if you didn't really connect with them on a personal level, you wouldn't really care about their story.
Yeah, that was definitely a small gripe I had with it. It's not a real deal breaker, but if you're just looking for kind of overall fun, first person shooter, then that's that Far Cry 3 is definitely worth checking out.
Okay, for any game that's going on right now, like, what sort of alternate universe DLC would you like for them? Like, we have Blood Dragon for Far Cry 3, for BioShock Infinite, we have Burial at Sea. Like, what sort of DLC would you like?
Man, there's definitely a list of games that I could think of just like out off the top of my head, just like all of a sudden, just like random DLC out of the ordinary of what the series is known for. I guess something with Hitman would be really, really awesome to see, just like this alternate Japan-esque take on 47, just to make it a complete, crazy, mind-blowing experience. Like, get Swery or Pseudo 51 to write a quick story involving Agent 47 and just have at it. That'd be awesome.
Ooh. One where Agent 47 is in Japan, like maybe like a alternate universe where he's actually a samurai or something. Like, that would be awesome to see.
Yeah, I think they just make it like a samurai game, or just like out of nowhere make it some type of make it like an arcadey type of game, or like a platformer, or just something completely random and out of left field.
Absolutely, and going along that line, I would like to see like one of the most badass icons actually be turned on his head, and that's the Master Chief for Halo 4, where they have all the assets right there. I would love it if it was actually like they made this version of John. He's actually a science geek. He has no idea how to use weapons, and like half the game is him fumbling around like with grenades, and you have to figure out like, okay, the Covenant are invading this like research facility. What are you gonna do? And then shenanigans ensue.
Yeah, I play that. Something out of character there. I'm sure people will, like everything else, to be upset about that, but that that'd be fun to play.
Mm-hmm. So and also, ladies and germs, if you would like to, if you have any other ideas for how to. For any DLC you would like to think of for anyone right now, please submit it, and we will make sure to look at it and read it and comment on it, and I will score them from 1 to 10. So just get your submissions out there, and I'd like to see what you would like to see as an alternate universe DLC to your favorite games.
Looking forward to that. That'll be interesting. Get the people talking. Get some discussions going here.
Let's give them something to talk about, boys.
I guess some sort of detective LA Noir with Duke Nukem will be just heaven for me.
Yeah, and also you just reminded me, LA Noir that leads to Rockstar, and Rockstar leads to Undead Nightmare for Red Dead Redemption. That was a damn good bit of DLC that they had right there, and it was pretty much a completely new game.
Yeah, it was definitely definitely one of my games to play on Halloween. Definitely a game if you're looking for something to play on Halloween. That and Deadly Premonition are up on the list there. If I, you're chilling at home. It's Halloween. You're getting some candy. You bought your candy. You didn't go out. You didn't bother to trick or treat because maybe you're over 20, so maybe trick or treating may come off a little weird. But you go ahead and buy your candy and play some games on Halloween. Including those two games.
But, I mean, you're an adult. You just drive on over. If kids could drive, they would just not put up with this dressing up nonsense where it's oh, I gotta dress up to look like a ghost. Oh, scary. Give me some money. Sorry, give me some candy or money if you have a robber costume on. Who knows? But or if you got the burglar costume on, you could demand some hamburgers. But it's just that feeling of oh, okay, wow. I'm fairly certain they would just drive to a store and buy some candy themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I do.
Yeah. Why go ahead and beg for candy at this age of our lives? Why not? Why are we gonna do that?
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk to some old woman who's ooh, who's a scary policeman. Just give me the candy, woman. Come on, we know this transaction. I've got 8 other houses to go to tonight. You will not keep me from my appointment.
And they gave you they have the worst candy, those plain licorice, sort of Tootsie rolls, but they're not even the chocolate ones. They're the plain, either lemon or peppermint type ones. I know that either those or just I know you said you're the rare exception to this, but you're a pretty big fan of candy corn, right?
Yeah, I love candy corn, except I will mentally there's something wrong with me because mentally I like candy corn. But if I won't eat it till I burst, but I will eat enough to the point where my body just wants to reject it and says, "No, you're getting sick. Stop it. Stop eating this right now." And I'll be "No, it's candy corn. It's delicious." But yeah, candy corn is not exactly a home team favorite.
Could be that, or just maybe somebody put in a little poison in there.
Well, if they had, no, I'm pretty sure even people who hate Halloween, who hate kids, who just put razor blades in apples or whatever, they wouldn't even consider candy corn because there's not a large enough demographic to actually put it out to, where it's just okay, yeah, I'll put poison in this candy corn. All 5 of you will get sick.
Have you ever gotten anything weird for on Halloween as as candy or anything just something out of the ordinary that you don't see? I mean, the only thing weird I've ever gotten was an apple. It's I'm not gonna eat this. What's going on with you?
It's listen, ma'am, unless this is covered in caramel, this is not gonna work. Okay, so you get back there, melt down some Hershey's chocolate, and then cover this thing in it because I will not eat this just raw. Are you crazy?
It may have been she just throwing out some apples she had that she wasn't gonna eat. So it's what a better opportunity to recycle and give it to the kids.
There is a special level in hell for those types of people, and I don't have any sympathy for you.
I mean, as we shouldn't.
Nope. But to answer your question, weird things I got instead of items instead of actual candy. I got what was it? Oh yeah, I got a little mini horoscope, and it was so weird too because it wasn't okay, it's a complete horoscope for every single person who who has a horoscope right now. It's it's not one that includes it's Pisces, Libra, Gemini, Cancer. It was pretty much just one horoscope of reading for the day, and it wasn't even my horoscope. It was I am a Pisces, and I got I think it was a Cancer, where I knew this person. I didn't want to say anything because it's obvious that this person did not have a clue that oh yeah, tonight's Halloween. I completely forgot. Here, let me just put these in there.
Yeah, it's sort of that they definitely forgot about that and just kind of threw what they had together for the kids. for the kiddies.
And for the kids, but I kind of would rather have you just like not even try at all. Just like say we don't believe in it. Like we're out of the country now, so sorry. Like and it's not as popular these days, but kids, I think there is a reason why kids will egg your house and throw TP over it when you don't do it right, because this is a fairly sacred tradition, and you're besmirching its good name by giving me this damn horoscope and apple. I will summon the legions of the dead to actually destroy you and your family for not actually doing Halloween correctly. There's lore going back, so you have no one to blame but yourself.
And I can't see any judge looking at that and saying, yes, they were justified in doing that to the kids.
I'm fairly certain every single either that I would probably be immediately asked to go to a mental asylum, since like not even like they probably wouldn't even want me within like the regular crowd of people. It's like, yeah, we can't put him with general population, he'll rile them up and probably get stabbed in the process, so we'll just put him in this insane asylum.
It might be for the best, and maybe not. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
And speaking of weird things happening and horoscopes, I don't know how that actually connects to anything. Shut up! I'm trying here. We have so for people who don't know, over this weekend, where we have famed designer Phil Fish, who's known for kind of getting into fights on Twitter and for his very strangely aggressive views on things. He has said that he was in a little spat with one of the guys from Game Trailers, and because of that, he said that he's backing out of the video game industry right now, and he will be not be completing Fez 2. So, he said that it's canceled. This is as much as he can stomach. But people have been kind of up in arms and saying like, oh, he should be, having thicker skin, or, and my feeling on this matter is, I'd like to, more importantly, Splinter, I'd like to hear your opinion on the whole point of view of everything. But for me, it really is a shame, because I don't think these guys have to deal with all these. All this abuse all the time, especially for somebody as outspoken, not terribly outspoken, but just enough to get attention as Phil Fish. And with that, I would, it's sad that we don't have any more of these kind of personality where that a personality like his is kind of losing out, and that now it's gone. I mean, sure, he's kind of a jerk. I'm not gonna lie. He does seem to think that he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and I would not begrudge anyone who didn't like him. But I think that we especially need to have a bigger a more mature conversation about the fact that how we badger and threaten our video game icons and big developers who want to do nothing but make these games, but a lot of people don't have no problem whatsoever threatening them with just the worst things I can ever think of. Like, I'm pretty sure no one even threatened Hitler this badly, where it's like, yeah, I'll sodomize your daughter and then pee in your pool, and then I'll take your dog and do bad things. It's really just too bad that it's had to kind of come down to that, and he's gone, and it's too bad.
Yeah, it is a shame. You don't want to see anyone kind of quit on something they seem pretty passionate about, just over something kind of as kind of juvenile as that, or people either criticizing or just saying just out of random things that you might set him off in some way, or just genuinely hurt him. I don't know what it takes to make a game. I'm sure it's a very complex process there, and just hearing all that crap from people saying I don't know what exactly was said, that caused him to go ahead and just make this decision in his state of his his career there. But I'm sure it was something that probably just. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's if it's something they're working very hard on. People are kind of shitting on it. It kind of it feels pretty. I'm sure that feels pretty bad. So
yeah, especially with an indie developer. I mean, you don't really have the clout to. I do think that he kind of should have learned the first lesson of the internet, which is you're on the internet, therefore people will say dumb shit all the time, will hate you for no reason. And you kind of need to not get a thicker set of skin, because I think that's a bit wrong. But I mean, it's just that you need to understand the fact that there are obviously people who do belong in mental asylums, and that this our modern day society has not deemed it necessary to do so right now. So it's just one of those things where you need to just kind of pick your battles where you can, or at least like have. Be a lot more calm than the other party to actually, address the subject. And if they won't stop, just say like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna throw my hands up and just say, okay, fine. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
which he did for the game, but I hoped he had that mentality for the argument.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something as maybe he was just having a rough day, and just something that was said just kind of set him off to this kind of. This course that he took of action. Who knows? I mean, I've certainly been there, which is something, not related to making a game, but I see where that might have happened there, and it just, I mean, who knows? He might change his mind and get back on the saddle there. Anything can happen there. I mean, I haven't personally played Fez. I played a little bit of the demo, but didn't get too into it or played it at all. So. I did see in the game the movie, and I won't say he's the kindest fella out there, but he certainly, I respect him for being vocal, because not a lot of people are, and I'm not a huge fan of people that aren't say they hide behind certain words in order just to garner some sort of either advantage or some sort of way to seem like they're above something higher than what they believe they are or something.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's no Peter Molyneux. I mean, he's never said like, this game will have you watch a tree grow from a young sapling into a mighty oak. I mean, if that was Fez 2, then he would obviously be the cock of the walk. But right now, it's just like, okay, it's a platformer. Who cares?
Yeah. So.
Yep. And I'm trying to look over. Activision Blizzard has split from Vivendi.
Really? God damn.
Yeah. So I mean, it was. I guess it was just so that like they were it was an $8.2 billion deal, and it was pretty huge. So it's now on. So now Activision is now you can. Now you don't need to worry about now that they're not part of Vivendi anymore. You don't need to worry about them possibly taking that money and publishing another Riddick game. So, yeah. But although I love Riddick. So I'm joking, ladies and gentlemen. But so now they can pump out as much Call of Duty and Tony Hawk Pro Skater as they want, and yeah.
We'll definitely see. It's been like a. Since it feels like forever since they been with Activision for it does feel like quite a while. So just see that they're kind of split up there, just gonna I mean, it's like you used to seeing those two associated with each other in those particular games, like the Tony Hawk and Pro Skater there. So
or like Time Warner and AOL, they just all together. You like if you saw one, you definitely saw the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you notice it. It's something like as simple as little as when you start up a game, you see the logos of the publishers and the developers. So you're used to seeing like when I was used to seeing it because I played the game so many times. Like let's say 10 times. Like Mass Effect, I so used to seeing like the Microsoft that Microsoft logo on there, and then when they went over after Mass Effect 2, the EA, and he's like, you see that EA logo, and then just...
Ooh, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, the first time I saw where, where it's like, with the first Mass Effect, it's like, oh, okay, cool. It's, this game, it's not exactly the most polished. It's not exactly, it was quite clear that they had some things on the cutting room floor, but it was like, okay, it was definitely a solid first attempt, and great job, guys. They were controlling their own destiny, and then EA bought them, and then it was like, oh, what is going on? And then sadness happened throughout the land as the young people, townspeople living in the land of happiness and joy realized that EA was here, and they wanted to put multiplayer in everything.
Multiplayer and online passes, and and now we get in-game currency.
Oh yeah, the whole speaking of in-game currency, I am not a big fan of microtransactions or transactions that actually lead to people paying real world money for fake money, since it doesn't actually work unless never mind. I take that back. I'm just not a fan in general. It's it's strange, but
yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. I mean, if it's something as little as like a weapon or a skin, that should automatically throw red flags up. That you're so used to it, and it should be this way. That should be on like the disc itself. Like, I don't mind having to like work my way in obtaining that particular like skin or weapon in the game. Like if it's in-game currency, like it's you shoot like 10 zombies, you get like 100 coins. Like, I don't mind doing that. Unlocking things within the game that doesn't require you actually paying money for it. Either to get it faster or just it being the only way you can get it. Things like that.
Yeah, but it's also strange because I don't agree with Jim Sterling, who had a video on the subject of microtransactions and how basically, even though they're free to even though they are free to stop and say like, okay, I'm not being, I don't have to pay for these. The way that his argument is that the way that the game is structured, it's still encouraging and testing your resolve to do that, which is counterproductive to actual gameplay mechanics. And I just think like, yeah, you're kind of overreaching with that one. I do agree that microtransactions are stupid and they shouldn't ever really happen. And in very small cases, I can't even think of a case where I would think like, yeah, this game was better with microtransactions. But I just kind of don't agree with his assertions that he had with the specifically the Dead Space ability to buy your way through the game.
Yeah, buying your way through the game. That's I don't know why you would do that. I mean, you're paying full price for the game. Why are you gonna go ahead and just make it more easier on yourself, or just by doing that? I don't get it too much unless the game is genuinely maybe difficult for it. And I mean, it's probably better off just lowering the the difficulty to easy or something like that. But not going as far as purchasing in-game items to get ahead. But I know that there was that I won't say some. There is a lot of that in the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
Oh yeah.
I never bit the bullet for that. I came close to it a couple times, but I never did it. I just played a lot of rounds in like silver or gold to get it, to get enough in-game currency in order to unlock some of those particular packs. And even when you download like some of the DLC, you still have to unlock the characters that came with the DLC, which was the worst.
Yeah.
So it took I don't know how I played like 20 rounds of multiplayer in order just to unlock the Geth, because I wanted to play as the Geth. It was bad. You're not even guaranteed to get it if you even pay for it. Like, it's all randomized. That's the thing about it.
And the thing is, like, why did you even include this if I don't even have not even a high certainty, but like just like a very small chance of actually getting the character that I want? Where it doesn't make any sense, and I certainly hope they don't do that. Like, it's not as like where Mass Effect is all about the gratification of like having your own universe and character be everything you kind of wanted to shape him up as or her as, and then you have to deal with the fact that you can't really you can't actually figure out how to get the character that you want without paying a lot of money or spending a lot of time grinding through multiplayer kind of pointlessly. And that portion of like I liked the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, but just the mechanics were fine, but just like how it was situated was not.
Just the the way you obtain items is I wasn't a huge fan of, but the very polished gameplay for Mass Effect 3 it worked well in how they put it together. It wasn't something that was just slap on together out of nowhere. It was I felt like they actually put some work into it, even though they probably didn't intend for it to have it, but at least they bothered to actually put some work into it, and it's a lot of fun multiplayer. If you really
unlike that Dead Space 2 multiplayer.
Oh man.
It is painful trying to bring up like memories of that game. Just
painful to watch, but fortunately I never played it, so I've definitely seen videos of that. But
the hit detection is terrible. Like, if you want a good example of multiplayer where there's two different styles of gameplay, and you have like two enemies versing each other. And, like, a good example would be Splinter Cell Chaos Theory or Double Agent, where they're using mercs versus spies. A bad instance would be Dead Space 2, where it's Necromorphs versus Isaac Clarke's, I guess. It's redonkulous. I am offended in the highest manner of that game, and it didn't get any better with 3 apparently.
Mm. Yeah, it's a shame that some of these recent franchises can't they
can't sustain themselves.
They can't always be as consistent, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't say that 3 like Mass Effect 3 was a big failure. It was, for what it was. Just looking back on it retrospectively, it is it is a good game. No doubt about that. It has its flaws, but that's it. But it doesn't detract from the overall game there. Through all this fiasco of almost a lot of things with just the story wise and just I guess business practice wise in terms of its day one DLC and just the way it's structured, that multiplayer while you get items and things like that. It is small yet significant things, but it doesn't detract from the overall product. Just looking back from it,
it was strange because that honestly, Mass Effect 3 should have not talking about even the the controversial ending and what was going on, but Mass Effect 3 should have been BioWare's magnum opus. Like, this is their big thing that they were leading up to. But the business practices behind it were so incredibly idiotic. Like, with people were worried that when EA took over for publishing for Mass Effect 2, but they didn't really step in for anything except for the Cerberus network and the downloadable content.
Yeah.
And then, and when they started releasing content, it's like, okay, they're not really infringing on anything. It's just like, okay, it's DLC. They have a fairly intuitive manner, and I like the fact that their Cerberus network sort of thing has in-universe news topics. And then with a third one, it's like, okay, now you guys are just going off the deep end with this sort of stuff that you want to put into the game. And one of the things that drove me crazy is, of course, the purchasing real fake costumes and characters. It's not even level grinding which gets you the characters. It's randomness. It's literally just like picking a name out of a hat and hoping you get it right, and sometimes you'll pick the same name twice.
Yeah, you're definitely right on that. It definitely was a game of chance more than anything else, than just playing multiple rounds of the higher difficulty in order to get more cash. It was definitely that. I definitely got a lot of Turians that way. I love the Turians, but I already had them. I wasn't looking for that.
Yeah, it's strange, but and it was that moment where you realize, like, wow, the business practices are actually getting in the way of me fully enjoying this game, or at least that's how I felt.
Yeah,
where like Mass Effect 3 is still a great game. I love that game. I thought the ending, it was fine. The one that the extended cut, we've talked about this God knows how many times, but just it was fine. But like I still have a lot of fond memories. I love that universe. I love the writing of the BioWare staff, and just with this particular moment where it's like, wow, you guys have everything going on for you right now, and then you just bring in these incredibly asinine business practices to bring it all down.
Mm-hmm. Just like you mentioned, just the writing and just all the memories you had with all the characters. The way they kind of revolve everything back to just from the beginning, and just all these references from the past games, just reiterating what made you enjoy what made you enjoy this world and characters, and that's what primarily saved it from us having any type of kind of slight distaste of it, just in terms of just how it was handled in the business practices sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just all that jazz, but definitely I've talked about that many times, so I feel like a broken record if we go on any further there. So there's definitely past episodes that you can look into if you're curious, if anyone hasn't already heard of that. We did the review on it. That was a good solid 2 hours, right? I was like, we did half of just reviewing it, and the other half was just getting into the nitty gritty of that whole game.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I personally think that the Mass Effect series is maybe my favorite science fiction sort of franchise of that sort of like space opera, space tales, like like Babylon 5, Star Trek, Star Wars, all those different types of universes. Mass Effect definitely, because it has big ideas, intimate moments. It can go silly. It can go like the last piece of DLC that they had for Mass Effect 3. I can't remember what the name of it was called.
Citadel.
Oh, Citadel. Yeah, like, damn it, how can I forget that one? But I mean, Citadel is just hilarious. And then it can go like really serious and awesome with like Lair of the Shadow Broker. You could and then it engages in discussions of genocide or these big ideas of what is freedom, what is intelligence, what is an actual living thing, how do you define reality? It's all these different interesting ideas, and then all these really great characters too. I mean, who would you like? Okay, now we've talked about our favorite characters, but who's your least favorite character of the Mass Effect series?
Least favorite? Not
of the main cast that you could actually bring with you on missions.
Yeah, I guess throughout the whole series. I mean, yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, my least favorite, it wouldn't be because I disliked them. I guess they were just. I guess you would say they were the least interesting to me because they were human. I probably would say Jacob, but I think everyone might say that. I mean, looking back on it, he, like I mentioned, he's not a bad character. It's just that his story is pretty straightforward. I mean, and also, I mean, he's just human. So it's not this kind of whole fascination like with Liara. There's so much fascination that in regards to just her character alone and just her whole species. It's just so much backstory in regards to whole race. That's what's appealing about most of those other characters there. But Yeah, out of all of them, I would probably say, yeah, Jacob was probably the least. I guess it's just compared to the other characters.
Yeah. I mean, Jacob. I think he was I think the hardest type of character to write is the straightforward guy who's genuinely good. Because like it's hard to find conflicts for him to be invested in when he's just kind of the Boy Scout, which is one of the big problems I had with the Man of Steel film, where it's like, okay, it's just Superman doesn't really change as a character from the beginning to the end of the film. It's just, okay, he's just a good guy who tries to do good things, except towards the ending, and they don't really address that even then. But you then have this sort of you then have this, but like you could like have really good straightforward characters like Captain America, like where I really liked this movie because they gave him something to do. They kept on giving him obstacles and they kept on challenging his point of view of what he wanted.
Right.
And that's what I don't think they really did with Jacob, because he's this nice guy who doesn't really have any problems with him, and he just seems to be there. Like he would have made I think he would have made a better side character, like where you're talking to everyone on the ship, like Kelly or what was it, like Preston, where like all these different characters, like they're colorful and you like them, but like that doesn't really mean that you want them on your for the big like, oh, who's this character? What is he doing here? Sort of characters like Garrus or Jack or Rex, where Jacob would have made a nice side character, I think.
Exactly. Are you pitching something here? Like, maybe we could have been better off with maybe Conrad Werner on our squad? That would have been.
Yes.
That would have been awesome. Every mission,
yes.
Every mission with him, like there's consequences if you take him. It has to be. You gotta have to like every mission you play with him is going to be an escort mission.
I completely think that, like, even if Conrad was incapable of actually firing a gun, and his everyone has their own biotic abilities, his would probably have been like ducked behind a cart and just like pray to whatever god will hear him. I would have still chosen that over every single character in the entirety of the Mass Effect universe.
It's like, sure, choose Conrad to lead the assault in Mass Effect 2. Why not?
He would have died walking there. Like, he would have died, slipped on a banana peel and just, broken his spine. Like, well, Conrad's out.
Let's take a good 5 seconds to mourn him. We hardly knew
I still wish that they had a Hanar, like a combat Hanar in there somewhere.
Oh, man.
Or Blasto. We needed Blasto in there at some point.
That would have been awesome. So, I mean, what would be yours? I mean, would it be the same as mine as least favorite character in the Mass Effect universe?
I would, probably as you definitely hit it right on the money with Jacob, just because I think he's I like his character, but he's not that dynamic. Like, the most interesting thing about him, besides being kind of a upstanding guy, is the fact that he cheats on FemShep if you get the opportunity. Like, if you're a female Shepard and you romance him in the second game, he just abandons you in the third. It's like, okay, whatever. And they don't even really have that storyline be that interesting in the third game. It's like, oh, things just happened, and that's too bad. But
I mean, I would have said probably Kaidan as well, but it's hard for me to say that because I didn't talk to him that much. I really didn't get to know him that much. That's why I every time I always let him bite the dust in the first game. I'm sure he's.
Really?
I mean, I'm sure he's. I guess to get more into him, and probably if you stick around with him and get to know him better. But I really didn't talk to him as much on the ship there, so I didn't get to know him that much as a character. So I probably was missing out there.
I like this character because he suffers a lot, but his main thing is like he doesn't let it get him down. He doesn't let that dictate his life, and frankly, just like after talking with Ashley, it's like, oh, okay, oh, it's interesting. We had a discussion about religion and God. That's cool. And then she's like, yeah, like aliens, they're not real people, you know? I mean, just like it's like if a bear was coming after you or a dog, you'd leave the dog behind, right? It's like, no, you crazy woman, I wouldn't leave the dog behind. I love dogs. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, she was. I mean, she's definitely a conservative there.
Yeah, she's on Fox News. She was the one protesting the sex of the game.
Yeah, it could have, quite obviously have been her. In that world of Mass Effect, she probably would have been the top billing on Fox News there. Yeah, but it's strange.
Yeah,
I don't know from your experience, but if you talk to her enough, you can sway her opinion on just that real quick. I know a lot of people had that dislike of her because of her kind of xenophobia, but with me, I talked to her pretty quite often, and just kind of in the dialogues I've chose, I did kind of sway her opinion. And then I mentioned before, like on the very end of near the end of the game where you choose to let the council live or die, she was all for saving the council. And then Garrus was like, well, you had to have someone else go against the other character. So that Garrus out of nowhere was like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and let the council die.
Yeah, it would be interesting. There are always those little moments where you realize okay, you need no matter what the situation, you need to have the voice of reason for two characters for the decision making process, even if it doesn't really make sense for them to be voicing it. It could be it's like you and what is it? You, Rex, and Legion together, and Legion's advocating for saving the Krogan, and Rex no, you have to kill them all quickly. It's I don't think this is supposed to be in the game.
Yeah, that's when you kind of realize, oh yeah, this is a game here. That kind of takes you out of it a little bit.
But it's still very well done, and I'm looking forward to. I don't know if I want to go back to the Mass Effect universe right now, but if they do, I hope it's a good time, a grand old time.
Yeah, certainly there's definitely some time to be apart from it in order to kind of make you go fonder of it and want to go back to it. There's definitely maybe a good. When did Mass Effect 3 come out? 2 years ago or last year? Was it? No, it wasn't last year, was it?
What?
When did Mass Effect 3 come out? 2 years ago or a year ago?
Yeah, 2011.
2011. Yeah, it feels like last year for some reason. But yeah, I mean, 2 years almost there. And so, I mean, I guess another two more years wouldn't hurt there, and then get it out there. I certainly wouldn't want it to be like the Assassin's Creed at this point.
Yeah. Ooh, boy, yeah. I would hate for that to become like Assassin's Creed, where even though there's obviously some quality going into the Assassin's Creed series, it's still that feeling of, okay, wow, I don't need this much this quickly. What is this, Madden? Are you crazy? I can't take all these plot twists within only 2 years.
All these plot twists and cliffhangers, and I can't take it.
Mm-hmm. Especially when a lot of it is never ending. The never ending stories, as Assassin's Creed should really be called.
My goodness. So
yeah.
I mean, I guess other than that, I don't know if you have any other news topics you wanted to bring up, but yeah, I haven't been playing nothing. I haven't been playing much of anything on the console. Well, in the span of a week, but during the time since we record, I have been playing a couple of things there. Like I mentioned to you when we messaged each other, I did get the Elgato game capture device there. So doing some videos here and there. And just like anything else, like video, when it comes to video and audio, recording your voice, it's a lot of trial and error. Once you get the right settings you're looking for there, you're solid and good to go for future videos. So I'm at the point where I think I got everything set up the way I like it to be. So I mean, I've been playing a couple of games here and there, testing out the just the whole video quality there, and playing a little bit of the Witcher 2 there. I mean, I love the Witcher 2. I love the lore of the Witcher. So first time, like the second time I've been actually played it. I've only played it about like 1.5 times. And when I say half, it's because like there's a point in the store in the game where you can choose, you make a choice, and it'll take you on 2 different story branches, which will end up shaping the story slightly differently if you play either or of those choices there in the directions you take, which is pretty awesome. So this is going to be the first time I'm just playing it from the very beginning to the end. So I'll see if I make the same story choice again. I was definitely a fan of the elves path there. I thought that was a better story there, and a lot of cool things happen. Not to say that the other branching story was bad, but that one had some more really interesting and very interesting moments going on there.
Mm-hmm. Now, when do you make that decision? Is that the one when you're in that little town? I'm sorry, I should have been much more specific. It's you're in that place, with the guy, and you talk about that thing.
You're hanging out with the dwarves drinking beer, I think, which is a lot in the game. Yeah, you make the choice when you have to decide whether you're going to go ahead and bang an elf or bang a dwarf. You don't know.
Oh, come on! Like everybody's had elf. If you go back like 200 years to when like Tolkien wasn't even alive and popular, like people will say like, "Oh, you want to bang an elf? Sure, sounds good." But now I think it's time for the dwarves to have their time. Women with beards should be respected. Had those Dove commercials taught you nothing, people? Come on.
Yeah, I love The Witcher. I mean, if you're looking for like a very kind of adult, not to say like adult, like it's a lot of sex. What it kind of is, but it's kind of it's like the mature fantasy stuff, like the Game of Thrones, like that kind of intrigue, like there's politics, racism, all that stuff. Yeah, that's what I like about it. It's really it's good stuff there. But the choice you make that will take you on 2 different story branches. It's a relatively noticeable decision. Not a huge decision that will affect the way you get treated between the 2 characters you make. It's kind of like, that's what I like about the game. It's not good or bad decisions you make there. It's a lot of gray areas. Like it's very. It all depends on what you want to do, really, and how you want to take the character you're playing. If you really want to, if you're one that immerses yourself in those type of RPGs, like put yourself in their shoes, or maybe just make them a certain way in order just to kind of get your own satisfaction. If you want them to be a womanizer, you could definitely do that, sort of make them like that. But it's relatively noticeable. I don't know how far you've gone on the game, but it's like the Yorvith and Roach. Like they ask you if you want to go with, like, if Roach, you want to go with him somewhere, and then Yorvith if you want to go ahead and save his elven brothers or something like that. It's one of those 2, and then either choice you make, they'll take you on a certain story branch there that will just lead you to the 3rd act there which is relatively the same if you take both storylines. They're different in the way they tell it in order to get to that 3rd act, but it's they're both worth visiting there. If you ever do a quick save before you make that choice and load it up later after you beat it.
Well, I haven't. I be honest, I have not played The Witcher 2 in a while, and when I did, I didn't complete the game. So what I did was I came back to it and I erased the save file just so I can start anew and just like, okay, now I'm invested in the story. Now I'll take over. And then life happened, and then I was like, "Oh well, crap! Now I got to get reinvigorated with all this other stuff." But Witcher 2 is going to be my next game to beat and complete, especially since now that we're in the summer dry months.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's a better time than ever to maybe if you can, go ahead and dip your toes in The Witcher 2. I mean, I completely love that game, and I'm really looking forward to the Witcher 3. So, I mean, yeah.
Is that going to be for 360, or is it just one?
To my knowledge, I believe it's coming out for next gen. So, I believe it's going to be out for PS4 and Xbox One. There, I don't believe it's going to be out on current gen consoles. I believe I could double check that, but I mean, I feel I'm the same way with like the Metal Gear Solid 5. I don't even know if it's even coming out for current gen or if it's coming out for the next gen here. Apparently it's it looks like it's coming out for next gen there, like around 2014, for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and also the PC there. So that's where it's gotten most of its popularity, is through the PC crowd there. And it's going to get, with the amount of content that game has, you can get that game real cheap on PC if you can run it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content for that game.
That and Macintosh, so yeah, it's. I mean, I really do like The Witcher. I like the universe of it, and hopefully it'll come out for the for Steam for the Mac, just so I can play it, because I'd love to play the hell out of it, just because it looks like an awesome game, and I love any game that makes you basically a lecherous a lecherous murderer. I'm all down for it. It definitely seems like that. Good times to be had by the family.
Yeah, I do actually. From my recollection, I do believe that they have. I think they have actually put out a Mac version of the Witcher 2 there. So it's definitely something that you can go ahead and check out there if you can run it. I know that from what I've heard, The Witcher 2 has got some. It's going to need some high specs for that to that run that game pretty smoothly.
Yeah. Well, but it's certainly worth it. I love.
It's on
I love the universe of The Witcher, and
it's on Mac.
CD Projekt Red did a damn good job at crafting these games.
Yeah, they're definitely a prominent developer that is. They got a lot of popularity for what for putting out a lot of content there for free, like people who had the PC version originally can download a huge ass update, which will end up being the enhanced edition that we have now on the 360, and completely free of no charge. So it's some good stuff.
For that alone, they get my props and a very hearty attention to whatever they're going to be working on next, which is the Noir game, correct?
The Cyberpunk one, yeah.
Sorry, my mistake. The only thing I was thinking of, okay, I remember the teaser trailer of the woman being shot at in the middle of the street, and I was thinking Deus Ex, so kind of noirish, I guess.
It could be. I mean, all they showed off was just that trailer alone. It's not really much to go on other than it's going to be some type of third-person action game it's sci-fi, and it just from that trailer alone, it gives me an idea of, I guess, what they might put together there. I mean, I'm just generally looking forward to it because it's coming from them. They definitely know how to do a good RPG.
I mean, how many developers would you just completely trust and okay, I'm going to put down $60 right now, and whatever your game is next, I know I'm going to love. At least enjoy it to some extent.
Probably quite recently with definitely CD Projekt Red, Remedy. Big fan of Remedy. I love everything they put out. I mean, not enough to get an Xbox One to get the Quantum Break. I'm sure that they're always really good at the environmental stuff in their games, which is a lot of games don't really get right. I mean, they definitely know how to cause mayhem in their games with the environment, and just I like the little small details with their games, like Alan Wake, when when the characters are their movements on their head, they focus on a certain point of interest, that they focus on it, and it's not like other games where you can move them to the direction you want, and if there's something that you're looking at in particular, they don't really adjust their head accordingly to that key point there. Like if there's a key on the floor, they just look straight ahead. They don't even see the key. Like games like Alan Wake, they have that little touch there. Like if you're gonna go ahead and pick up an item, you see the character model. Just their head, adjust accordingly to what they're looking at there. If you're near an item to pick up, that's what I like. Those little touches there, which I like, and they have a great lighting. They do great lighting in those games. Just overall, I like the writing for their games. Definitely Remedy, BioWare as well. I haven't played I haven't played much of their games other than Mass Effect. I haven't played Dragon Age, but definitely, anything they do come out with in the future, I'll definitely have faith in that they put out a quality product. I guess, to some extent. Rockstar as well. They're a quality developer there. I guess those three there. I'm sure there's more that I need to. That I'm not thinking of at the moment, but those are the top ones there.
I would have said Rockstar before, but now I'm a little bit worried. Like after Red Dead Redemption, I'll be like, hell yeah, just whatever you guys do, just sign me up. But after Max Payne 3 and
Max Payne 3.
I'm sorry.
You and Max Payne 3. Didn't. Yeah. The thing that I really like about it, and I'm looking forward to, is that I mentioned before, when we talked about Max Payne 3 at the time, is like the thing that would really make Grand Theft Auto a much more better game, like the way you play and how you shoot, you shoot weapons. If they copied and pasted the gameplay from Max Payne 3 onto that, it looks like that's what they're doing with Grand Theft Auto 5. Maybe not any slow motion, but maybe to some extent. But it looks like it's going to be a much more polished third-person shooter than GTA 4 was.
Right.
But that's what I was looking to get with I guess a little bit with the past like that GTA 4 there. But anyways.
Right. No, I got you. It's it once again I think a lot of quality work goes into Rockstar games, but there's just me and Max Payne 3 we did not gel.
What was the?
I wish them all the best.
What was the thing about it that swayed your opinion on it? Just out of curiosity.
Okay. There's a few things which kind of irked me, especially with Rockstar games. One, and I know this. The overly cynical protagonist, and I know Max Payne is sort of that, is perfect for that archetype where he's the overly cynical protagonist. But the problem is that after so many Rockstar games hitting that same beat, it's getting really old. Especially when I feel that all of the characters around Max Payne are far more interesting. And also, I didn't like the fact that the gunplay didn't evolve as time went on. I remember there was a game called Stranglehold, which was a sequel to the John Woo film Hard Boiled, and in that game you could basically do the same things that you could do in Max Payne 3, although the physics system wasn't as cool as Max Payne 3's, but you could upgrade your weapons, you could pull off special moves, and then in Max Payne 3, what you got in the beginning of the game is what you got at the end of the game. There was no progression. It's only just okay, now you gotta get this certain gun to take care of a sniper or what have you, but besides that, there's nothing else. That was different.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. That's definitely a valid point. There wasn't really any kind of, I guess, skill or weapons progression. I guess that would have been interesting to see, like any other type of game, how you kind of start from the beginning from scratch with with little to the basic fundamentals there, and you evolve and just adapt. Maybe attain newer things like that. Like Batman Arkham City. You start off. Well, maybe Arkham Asylum, but you start off with certain items, and then as you progress through the game, doing certain missions and tasks, you get newer weapons or skills as you progress. So I see what you mean there.
I liked a lot of the art assets, and I thought that was a very beautiful looking game. I like the presentation of it all. It was really cool, but for me, it's like it didn't hit that point for me. Like, if someone likes it, then I can't begrudge them. It's not like my feelings of Half-Life 2, where it's like, oh my god, if you like this, then I will discuss your ears off. But it's like, it's one of those games where it's like, I'm not enthralled enough to really get into an argument about it. But
yeah, I hear you. I mean, you made some valid points there, and it's definitely a valid opinion there. And I do say, I mean, I liked it a lot. It was definitely missing that Remedy charm it had. When Rockstar took over, but it was gameplay wise, I quite enjoyed the shooting a lot, and just the story they had there was good, but yeah, I was missing a little bit of that Remedy charm I liked from the past games. But other than that,
definitely
I mean,
there now, right?
not a lot of people. I mean, I guess it goes. Not a lot of people are really like, once that came out. People enjoyed it, but not a lot of people are really talking about it as much. Like Littleton, I mean, nothing. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like nobody's really like. I mean, it was a good game, but nobody's really talking about it in the terms of how people get excited for it, like how after they play like GTA 4 or anything. It hasn't been talked about much, like little to nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems like one of their from Rockstar's publishing offshoots that people respected and that it was well done, but nobody really goes, oh wow, remember that company, they did that. Like Rockstar Table Tennis or the Warriors video game adaptation.
Yeah, if you ever do get a chance, you gotta play some Max Payne 2, or at least watch me play it on, because I did play that.
I did watch some Max Payne 2 walkthrough, and that did brighten up my day. I do like the fact that they have. And it was kind of the same thing with Alan Wake, where I definitely felt this sense of, it's like it's an action sort of story, but it has these moments of comedy, and sometimes it's a bit surreal. Not in the way that's surreal like Deadly Premonition, but surreal in that these characters, they seem kind of crazy and exaggerated, but for some reason they work really, really well within their world.
Yeah, definitely just these kind of random moments that could actually probably happen. Like I remember in Max Payne 2 where you're fighting in an apartment complex, and then like one guy's about to shoot you, and then out of nowhere some old lady with a shotgun just shoots him. He's like, and then she's all like, all these hooligans causing trouble and disturbing the peace, and and then you just go ahead in her room and just take her. You go ahead and take her painkillers and her shotgun, and then move about your way on that mission.
And now that sounds like a game-worthy purchase right there.
Yeah, like just those little touches there that Remedy has is just what I liked about those previous two games there. But
there's what. I don't know if you've been playing anything else of interest. Have you been indulging in anything else?
No, nothing too major, other than just a little bit of Dishonored, some Witcher 2. Wish it was Witcher 3.
How'd you get Witcher 3 so quickly?
I got connections. Just a little bit of that, and
what else do I got to plow to get me Witcher 3?
Plow. I love those accents. Just a little bit of that for just the YouTube channel there, and just a couple of phone Android games. I've been playing a little bit of.
Really?
I played this game recently called Robot Unicorn Attack 2.
Ooh, I did hear about the Robot Unicorn game from whenever I was watching Adult Swim.
Yeah, and Adult Swim's games.com game it's free to download on the Android and iPhone there. So it's basically like a side-scrolling, just a game where you just control a unicorn basically, and you just you start off from the you're just moving from the left screen to the right side of the screen. It's just a really addicting platformer. Like as you progress, there are different obstacles you have to kind of avoid and getting hit with. It's just a matter of just timing your jumps and using your dashes to get certain teardrops where you can use to purchase upgrades for your horse, and just gonna go all out with customization of that unicorn there. You can make them have like fire wings, or you can just purchase different unicorns. It's just fun. It's really basic and simple, and it's got a really good music that you can that's playing in the background, really like electronic stuff. A lot like the addicting electronic music that plays when you're playing Hotline Miami.
Ooh, cool.
So a lot of things you can collect as you play each level. It gets faster and faster as you progress. So you have to like time your jumps and avoid hitting certain objects that will cause you to restart the game from the beginning. It's like you get 3 tries, and you try to get as the highest score as you can, and you can play that game for a long time if you're really good at it. Gather as much points as you can, to upgrade your unicorn, or purchase some background music to listen to as you play. All good stuff.
That sounds like a fun iOS game or Android game.
Yeah, it's a fun little quick game you play on when you got nothing else going on, and playing a little bit Phoenix Wright, getting back into that. Yeah.
They released that for the phone.
They do have that as well for the phone. I was playing it on my iPod Touch. I still had the game on there. I never completely finished it, so I decided to kind of replay it from the beginning. The first Phoenix Wright game, I believe it's Ace Attorney. So they have like a iPhone version of it. So I mean, it's pretty. It's pretty good because it originally came out on the DS, so it's a lot of just touch this, touch that thing. It's like a point click pretty much. Mm-hmm. It's good because it has a lot of charm, and it's Japanese, so you gotta love the charm. It's just like the overall just
zaniness.
Yeah, zaniness and just ridiculousness of it's just, if you like courtroom dramas or type of like like investigative shows, you'll definitely enjoy this. It has its fair share of kind of dramatic moments, but it can get really silly there. Just like a lot of silly things go on in the courtroom there that obviously would not happen in real life, and not really court proceedings. But it's just awesome when you go ahead and basically the gameplay is. Depending on a case, you'll go ahead into the crime scene. You examine things and then just kind of get more information, much like any point-and-click adventure, and you gather evidence and stuff like that. So as the day reaches for the court proceedings, you'll talk to witnesses, and they'll say certain things, and sometimes the witnesses will be the ones involved in the murder or something like that. And you basically just kind of have to contradict their statements with evidence you have, and just hitting that button and yelling objection it's just awesome.
Yeah. I once again I really am just delighted and surprised that we could have these really cool complex games now on Androids and iPhones. Like, once again, bringing up Grand Theft Auto 3. I never thought that would ever reach a handheld, but with not even 10 years time later, there it is. And same with Phoenix Wright, where it's like, wow, this is these different experiences, and then they find a way to kind of miniaturize them and actually make them really, really cool and playable.
Yeah, the thing with like the Phoenix Wright games is not like anything like Grand Theft Auto. I mean, it's pretty simplistic, and it has a good art design, and the gameplay that it came out on, but which was the DS. So definitely that type of game like that, it works well on a phone there. Just basically clicking on the items there, and I never played the Grand Theft Auto 3 or Vice City on the phone, so I don't know how well that handles there. I mean, it's gotten relatively pretty decent reviews. Yeah. It's like any other thing else. Like you try to play a game on a touch screen, it gets a little weird and janky, but it gets takes a while to get used to that.
It is very, very. It's a very, very interesting time to be a video game player. I think the games have never been better, and the business practices have never been worse. But I do think that we're in a good place right now, and I'm looking forward to what comes next. And speaking of things that are in the future, but you also got to take a moment to look at the past. And I've been playing Dreamfall: The Longest Journey, which is a point and click. Well, not really point and click, but it's one of those adventure games where you're going around talking to people, and you got your own. I'm just starting it out, and The Longest Journey is one of those kind of revered games. Dreamfall wasn't as well accepted, and Dreamfall, not the Lost Chapters, but whatever the sequel is, has been funded on Kickstarter, so it's going to be continuing that. But so far, I'm really liking Dreamfall: The Longest Journey. It's this interesting place where it's taking, it's a future world of this very interesting kind of design where it's taking place in Casablanca in the future around, this girl called Zoe Castillo, I think is her name, and it's this very interesting setup where you have this, you're having this nightmare about this guy who goes into this kind of cult, and you don't really find out what happens, but then I haven't gotten too far, but you're just, starting the day off where you're waking up and trying to find a job, and, your dad's heading out for a business meeting, and you're trying to meet some people together for a party, and it's very, very slow build-up, but I like the fact that you get to know a lot of the characters and the setting and the surroundings and what Zoe really thinks about the world and everything that's going on. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, I've seen the game and seen some screenshots of it, and it's been one of those promoted games that's been kind of discounted up over that on the Good Old Games there. So I definitely am aware of it, but haven't gotten the chance to actually play that, because there's definitely some really good point-click adventure games on Good Old Games there that are always on sort of sale going on there. That's how I got to play the Still Life there. It's one of those detective horror point-and-click adventure games that has some charm to it with its characters and dialogue there, which I really enjoyed. That was a good one. I played a little bit of the sequel, not very good, but that first one was really good. It was certainly a gem among point-and-click adventures.
I do think that it's interesting to, like, the best point-and-click adventure kind of to this day is The Walking Dead, where of this current generation, and I think they understand what it took to make the point-and-click genre well again. It's not exactly some like old classic staple marks of, okay, you can only move left to right on a screen, you got a two-dimensional character, talking here, you got to find this thing, and then you got to rub it against this thing. They kind of found what people really do love about the genre, and then they made it for this generation. And I certainly hope that's the same way with The Longest Journey, and for great classic games of the past, and the fact that they are so revered that they got special editions with, like, the Monkey Island and Curse of Monkey Island, getting special editions with commentary and hints and that cool little button that lets you switch back and forth between the graphics. Like, that's really, really cool. And I that's the one genre I hope really does come back, because everything else is fairly action oriented, where you could you could have a nice kind of conversational sort of game where you just go around and talking to things, or just trying to solve a case where you're just finding clues, and it would be nice to see more of those these days.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I sort of slightly building up there. I know that I don't know if the new Swery 65 game, I don't know if that's a point-and-click adventure, but it's kind of leaning towards that sort of similar ideas of a point-and-click adventure. I guess it's going to be It's going to have Connect use on it, so it's sort of like a point click adventure there, with some, I guess, quick time events there where you're swerving your hand to do gestures there and make things happen, and it being 100% off and you causing you to lose the game. But who knows? Maybe the Connect 2.0 will be better.
But here's hope, and I hope they do have a sequel to my favorite game this generation, Star Wars Connect. I want Star Wars Connect 2, damn it. I don't know if I can, if I can dance like Han Solo, unless I get a game which is just as good as Star Wars Connect.
My God.
I am sorry for that, everyone. I apologize. Even in jesting, I know, even in saying something in jest, I know it's rather offensive to even bring up Star Wars Connect after all the horrendousness it has caused.
So, longest journey there. That's good. That's good stuff there. I definitely it's definitely on my list on my goodoldgames.com profile of games to check out. Hey, you have anything else that you want to discuss, that you want to bring up that you've been playing, or anything else?
Nope. I've just been sort of getting back here, got my stuff all unpacked, just helping my mom move her stuff into storage, and now just like getting back into video games. I got to figure out. I hate coming back to this house for one reason and one reason only. I have to figure out the Wi-Fi around here, and I don't know what a WEP key code is. Damn it! I put in everything.
My God.
Yeah, but whatever the case is, I'm glad to be back here, and I'm glad to be back playing games. So I will be talking a lot more about video games, and it's good to be back on Bloody Thumbs, man. It's an excellent episode to come back on, and I missed you, buddy.
That's all sentimental.
On a very special Bloody Thumbs.
I know in my heart I still love you. the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It's that clip alone.
Oh my! It makes me happy that, like, with a lot of people, like, okay, there's not a lot of folklore being created these days, and there's not, like, people are really into hard science, not really like thinking about the fantastic. But it makes me so glad that, like, okay, there are people who do act like cartoon characters, or people who do act not like human beings, and it just makes for such an entertaining show that I can't really put my finger on it, but it's so wonderful to see.
Yeah, so I guess other than that, I'll quickly mention the other two games I've been playing. I've been playing a little bit of some of the, and this is during, I think, what I consider a gaming drought. So it's just like I'm going all out with just randomness of different games here to play, rather until like something comes out later this month, which is like Blacklist and Saints Row 4. Yeah, I played some indie games on the Xbox Live. Some of them, just looking through that whole game list, like, god damn, some of the shit you see on there, just 9 times out of 10.
Are you talking about Who Did I Date Last Night?
That, and just like who would pay to get that? It's not even a game; it's like an app or something where you can message out to all friends. So it basically sends a message to all your friends on your friends list without having to go in and do it on each one individually, because that's how it works on Xbox Live at the moment. If you just go on Xbox.com, you probably do it and just like you can do it like that. I think you just save money there. I just did it right there.
Or even better, you can just not do that and just use your cell phone.
That too. I tried that Smart Glass app a while back. It seems it worked when I did it, but I mean I can't see myself really using it that much. But
there's an app where it's just farting, where you the only thing that, like, you press any button or trigger, all you do is fart, and I got to give it a 10 out of 10 just for following through on it. Is everything I ever wanted in a farting app. So, ladies and gentlemen. This man is obviously the oh gosh, I don't want to say Benjamin Franklin of our generation, but I will. He's the Benjamin Franklin of our generation, of knowing what the people want, inventing it, and then leading us to a holy promised land.
Yeah,
and I don't take that.
No, go ahead.
I just and I don't throw that around too often unless I do or have had a beer.
You and I gotta produce a game for the indie games market there for Xbox. We gotta make a Wilhelm Scream app, which is just Wilhelm Scream.
It's for 500 hours, nothing but Wilhelm Scream.
So it's funny how much that Scream is used, and even like even on the big budgeted movies. I don't know. I guess it is intentional for some of them, right? I don't.
I think.
I don't get it, but
it's strange because I think it was just like one of those stock sounds that people used in action movies or whatever. But it became so noticeable that I think now whenever anyone uses it, it's just a homage. Well, unless they changed up a bit, because everybody knows that scream, even if they don't really pay attention to movies, they've heard that scream somewhere.
Yeah,
and it's not like one of those, kind of forgettable screams like or it's like ah. It's like you gotta wonder what the guy did to actually get to make that sound. Like he was probably thrown off a roof while being kicked in the balls.
It certainly seems like it, and I mean just. Once you finish, perusing into the just utter shit in the indie games market, which is mainly 9 out of 10 is just Minecraft clones, but I did find two nice, pretty decent gems there. Is one game called Dead Pixels, which is kind of like an 8-bit zombie game, so it's like a side scroller, so you're just kind of shooting zombies, and there are like doors on the top of the screen there, so it's just like different areas, like it's depending on the difficulty you select. Like normal, you just it says like 19 days or until you reach this destination. So basically, you go from left to right on the screen, shoot zombies and avoid getting killed basically, and just in each section of the levels, which is like divided into days, you can basically just do that and search through different locations, like either like a church or stores and things like that. Just basically areas that you can go into and just peruse for items that you can sell to traders if you happen to stumble upon them, and just make monies, and just it's an RPG as well. So you're just obtaining items that you can sell in order to give you upgrades into your like strength, your weapon ability, your health, your speed. It all factors into that. And then as you get closer to like the very end, it starts to get really insane. They throw in different zombie characters. There are different zombie enemies where they run really fast, so you have to take those out first, or like really first priority you have to take care of, and then just other ones that just spit acid. The basic Left 4 Dead type of zombie enemies that they throw at you, and it plays a little bit like an RPG. So it's an interesting little indie game. It's only like 99 cents. So if you're trolling the indie game market for a decent 99 cents game, that's definitely one to check out. And I don't know if you've played it, but you probably heard of it. You played Mount Your Friends. That's
have I played what?
Mount Your Friends.
Mount My Friend. No, I have never played this. I haven't heard of it. What is it?
It's really simple. You start off the level, and there's a goat there. So you can play with someone else or by yourself. So it basically all you're doing is just climbing on top of one another and try to make this human ladder, a human ladder of just dudes. It's just guys wearing headbands and then in bikinis and just like waddling around. It's just like it's like if you ever played the game Co-op, that Flash game, it's just how you control each individual limb with like each letter.
Oh yeah,
it's like that, but with you're controlling their limbs in order just to climb on further to one another and try to get as high as you can. It's really simple, and it's just each character is different. There's just different colors and different ethnicities from different countries. They kind of make it seem like it's an Olympic sport. And then the way they just waddle, and they all have like huge bulges in their bikinis, so it's just them doing helicopters the whole time. It's really funny, but it's definitely worth playing with someone there if you're like if you're inebriated. But it's a lot of fun. It's
I'm a child of 4, and I have way too much money on hand. So yes, I will be purchasing this as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's good. I'll send you a link to some gameplay there. But it's really simple. So I mean, if you're playing online, it's pretty fun to play online. So you just basically climb on top of each other. There's like a time at the first turn you take, there's no time limit. You just climb on one another basically, and then after like each one of you takes their first turn, that's when it'll begin the time limit. Normally, like I believe 30 seconds or 60 seconds. So as you get higher and higher, you have to really climb up and just stay focused on which limb you're controlling in order just to further up. Further climb up the ladder of human ladders, pretty much, and before time runs out. That's basically it. It's pretty simple, but Mount Your Friends is definitely one to check out there, and that's what I've been playing there. And I did send out a tweet before we recorded there to get some quick questions here, and we got a couple here, so we probably will go ahead and just move on to that real quick, and then we'll go ahead and just wrap this up here.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Not a bad podcast for our return here. So it's been it's like the 3rd of July since we've done it. So there we go here. Let's see. We got a tweet here from Big Red NY, fellow BGB.com member here, and his question is, white or whole wheat? That's a good question.
White or...
I'm more of a whole wheat guy. I'm not a huge fan of the white bread there.
I like both, but I think wheat is healthier, so I usually go with wheat.
That's
like I could eat, like, you throw it down for BLT. Like, if I can't find wheat, sure, I'll take white. But wheat is my preference just because it's good and it's got a little bit more taste to it. And it's a little bit healthier for you, so I like that.
Always about health here on the podcast. And another question here from Steve Rome, and his question is, how do you deal with dust on your gaming equipment? As simple as that.
The smart thing to do would be to get like a washcloth, soak it in warm water, clean it off, wait for it to dry a little bit, and then clean the rest off with a dry dish rag. What I do instead is that I just take my big club of a hand and just like swipe it all up, like, yep, it's clean now, and then either pop the CD back in or put the video game console back down.
That's pretty much what I do, but I have a air duster, so that helps as well. So you get some nice dust out of there, like out of the AC adapter for the 360, and just like the back of the vent, so you get some nice dust blown out of there.
Oh yeah,
that's a good product.
Yeah, that one gets worse when it gets all dust up in the back and it sounds like it's wheezing like an old man Xbox.
That's definitely how mine sounds these days. But and we go ahead with our final question here from Thomas Gibbs, and his question is, what is the one video game related achievement or challenge that you're most proud of completing?
Ooh, that is a good one.
I think I might know what your answer is, but I'm trying to think what mine will be. If out of all the gaming related achievements that I've received, sometimes I didn't even ask for it. It just came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, I didn't expect that. The pleasant surprise achievements.
Yeah, I think everybody knows my well, actually, I do pride myself on the Dead Space 2 hardcore mode where you only have 3 saves. But for this one, and you got to go through, it's the most challenging difficulty, and you got to go through that the entire thing. And if you die, you go all the way back to wherever you go, and you can only save 3 times. Yada yada yada. But I think the one that I'm really proud of is the zombie genocider in Dead Rising, because that one took me so damn long to get through, and it was like, wow, oh wow, I wish there was some other way to do it, but you can't. You got to spend so much time killing zombies, and doing it. It was just like so much dedication to such monotony. Just really made me happy in the end when I could finally get the Mega Man Buster weapon for that game, which made me very, very happy.
Very awesome. I think the one that comes to mind with me, I think I'm pretty proud of doing, because it was just doing all of the card collecting in Deadly Premonition. There was definitely a lot of cards to go ahead and look for. I mean, I didn't find all of them on my own. I will admit that I used a guide for a couple of them, because they're very, some of them are very difficult to kind of figure out how you're gonna get over this fence and get this thing. There are definitely a couple of those. I mean, that achievement was really good to do, and some of the just my own personal achievements were just like playing through the side quests of almost every side. I think there's like 50 side quests in those games, and you can ignore all of them, but they all have their benefits in terms of getting to know the characters more, and just getting some weird items that can really be helpful to you, and in the game, in the later challenges to come.
Yeah. What is a more satisfying achievement for you to get? Is it like an achievement that's incredibly difficult and that you finally get it, or an achievement that's incredibly monotonous and frustrating that you get? Like you have to have perfect timing, or you have to Dead Rising, you have to keep on killing zombies over and over again for about like 3 hours straight, and you can't take a break.
Yeah, I guess something sort of similar to that. Never to the extent of like Dead Space 3, but something just trying to like outdo yourself in getting those high scores in the Arkham City challenge rooms. I really like the combat in that game, and it's just figuring things out and just timing things right and just making sure like you don't get hit and you get your combos broken. Just doing those challenge rooms was really. Outdoing my high scores and getting those achievements on the Xbox Live achievements. Those are the ones I found more appealing for me to do, rather than just the really monotonous ones that just really get at you.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but I find the more irritating achievements, like the more. It's like, you spend a lot of time working at something. That's more satisfying to get than a really difficult achievement, like a really challenge, like the hardest difficulty in a game. Than something that's frustrating, like trying to get the right timing for a game. Just because like you're past that point, like wow. I'll never have to do that again, because like someone might find enjoyment in like the most challenging version of the game, but I doubt anyone finds enjoyment in the kind of monotony of achievement of the kind of the worst achievement getting possible. But once you do, it's like that feeling of wow, okay, I never have to do that. Cool.
Yeah, I can never. I'm sure I'd be pretty satisfied with myself if I was able to get some sort of achievement for playing Metal Gear Solid Rising on the hardest difficulty, especially that last boss. Even on normal it was a pain, but even on normal, when I finally did beat the game, it was a very satisfying feeling you got there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine playing it on the hardest difficulty. That part there, it would drive me nuts.
Or like there's an achievement that you can get on hard mode without taking any damage whatsoever, and that's almost impossible for that last boss.
Yeah.
where you have Armstrong like breaking through, like he breaks your sword, and so like you're not supposed to take any damage from this guy. I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing someone do it, but not me at all. I'm not that into suffering.
You're not a masochist, and I think we're all for the better not doing that, because you didn't buy Aliens Colonial Marines if that was the case.
No, I did not, but I did purchase Dark Souls, but Dark Souls isn't too bad. I mean, it requires just a lot of patience there and timing. But that's even on some, even it also requires just. You never know what to expect from the game. Like, it's anything can happen, that anything can kill you pretty much. So it's like if you do end up getting killed, it's most likely your fault. But other times it's just like out of nowhere, you didn't expect it, like a dragon just falling from the sky and just killing you with his fire breath out of nowhere. It's hilarious, but also just it eats at you because you got to go back and get your souls, in which basically the souls are what they act as kind of you can purchase items with them or just use them to save them up so you can upgrade your skills like any other RPG there. And then just to lose, if you die again after you try to get them, then you're boned. You're boned. You have to go and reallocate what you lost again.
I got you.
But good stuff. So yeah, that's it for the Twitter questions there, and I think this has been a pretty solid return here.
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, it's been great coming back and talking to all of our lovely people and getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, so this is definitely keep you guys notified on whenever we do another one of these. I normally will probably tweet something out in last minute for questions or something like that. But we'll be back on the regular here. It's one of those rare occasions where we just take a couple of weeks off and just enjoy the fine things in life.
Like fine stogies and a good woman.
Fine stogies and then the return of Twinkies. It's the American dream.
Twinkies, yeah! I am so happy they're coming back, even if it's just in name only.
In name, yes. So yes.
Hopefully in taste too.
We'll see. I haven't had one.
We'll put the Twinkie in a nuclear radiation plant and see if it still survives. If it is, then that's truly the successor to the Twinkie.
Truly a man-made achievement that should be just in a museum in itself.
It's a good time to be alive.
So you know where to find us here. If you aren't aware of it, we'll go ahead and just drop the main links there on our show notes. But basically, just the main points of interest you want to go ahead and in order just to find us in particular, or just the podcast in general, it's just on iTunes. There you can search Bloody Thumbs Podcast or bloodythumbs.wordpress.com is where that feeds into iTunes, so you can go there and you can download the podcast from there, or just spill.com through the group pages there. It's fairly easy to go ahead and just type in that that URL to the iTunes or just that WordPress page to get there quickly. But whatever floats your boat there. You can follow us on Twitter there. I'm going to be at Spooner47. And
I'm at ch_Gorog on Twitter.
That is correct. And yes, you can follow us there. And then as we both attempt to get Showbot on the podcast and watch us fail, isn't that what the internet is for? Making fun of people for trying and failing. Isn't that what it was made for?
Hey, without that, Daniel Tosh would not have a career. Come on.
Oh yeah. So other than that, you could follow those usual links, and also we do post on the BGB.com for our fellow friends,
our brothers in arms,
our podcasting comrades in arms. They definitely do some great reviews on there, and definitely do some streaming. If you're into the streaming there, you can follow them on the Twitch, mainly the Twitch.tv streams on there. They should have the links to their respective streaming channels there, and that's really all about it there.
Yep.
So
and so thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts for having patience and for waiting around for us to come on back. We love you all, and please submit any questions or comments that you have to us, and we'll make sure to read them.
Yeah, please do, and spread the word out there. That's how we get that's how we get new listeners and some interesting discussions going from newer listeners we might not have spoken with or aware of, who ask us questions. Feel free to spread the word, man.
Spread
it, Eagle. I'm going too far.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but not. No, hopefully we'll take it for the next episode. But thank you very much, Spooner. You've been an excellent compadre for this episode, and I look forward to another one next week.
Same here. So thanks all for listening. Once again, this has been episode 140 of Bully Tones Podcast, and you all have a wonderful week and have a good one.
I love you. Bye.